Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Siti Nur Fatimah. I will explain the part grammatical cohesion and textuality. Grammatical cohesion and textuality can be classification into three types, namely reference, ellipsis and substitution, and conjunction. The first, reference. Reference. There are three kinds of burdens that we usually use, namely A. Anaphoric reference occurs when the pronoun refers to the subject or object contained in the preceding sentence. Example: I went out with Dinda Sunday. She looked pale. In the subject of the second sentence, she refers to the subject of the first sentence, Dinda. Exaphoric reference occurs when a word or phrase refers to something outside of discourse. Usually, the interlocutor already knows the meaning of the word or phrase that the speaker mentioned without having to explain it first. They are late again. Although not previously explained, the speaker and the interlocutor both know that they are referring to the Sunday. See anaphoric reference occurs when a pronoun refers to the subject or object in the sentence afterwards. Example: although I always reject his calls, Tom still calls me every day. In the subject of the first sentence, his refers to Tom. Second, ellipsis and substitution. Ellipsis and substitution serve as linguistic links at the lexicogrammatical level. Ellipsis and substitution are used when a speaker or writer wants to avoid rereading a lexical item and use one of the language grammatical sources to replace the item. Ellipsis is the removal of element usually required by a grammar that assumes the speaker or writer is clear from the context. Substitution is the replacement of words or phrases with fillers such as want, so, or, and do. The third, conjunction, acts as a cohesive bond between clauses or parts of text in such a way as to show meaningful patterns. Enough from me. Next will be explained by Niken. Thank you.
Have you ever heard the terms stay and rain, even, vacuous, background, presupposition? Okay, first I will explain divided two terms and then provide an example of how they have been applied. Initial position. This is the most common position for them in English. Because of the ZVO, subject, verb, object, structure of a typical English sentence, them is often the subject of the sentence. However, passive voice violates this rule. It is worth mentioning that in some other language, like Japanese, the commonplace for them is the end of a sentence. In language with free word order, like Ukraine, them can be found in the middle of a sentence. Rain, in some sources, as a comment, focus, or prediction, is the destination where the presentation moves. separator point. For example, 1. Tom likes traveling. 2. Smoking is harmful for our health. These examples take Tom or our friends isn't the initial position. This is the most common position for them in English because of the ZVO, subject, verb, object, structure of a typical English sentence. Them is always the subject of the sentence. However, as a police is
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2, consisting of me, Delaris Vitasari, Siti Nur Fatimah, and Niken Stiona. Our topic of discussion is discourse analysis and grammar. Okay, on the grammatically, correction, and textually part which will be explained by Siti Nur Fatimah. Speakers and writers are producing discourse. They are at the same time as they are busy constructing clause, monitoring the development of the large discourse, and their choice at the local level can be seen simultaneously to reflect the concerns of the discourse as an unfolding production. With an audience, whether present or project, a discourse-oriented approach to grammar would suggest not only a greater emphasis on context larger than the sentence, but also a reassessment of priorities in terms of what is thought about such things as word order, articles, ellipses, tense and aspect, and some of the other categories discussed here. Well, that's the presentation of our group. If we have a mistake, so apologize us, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, next I will explain about tense and aspect. In grammar, the word tense refers to the times period in which the verb of a sentence plays an action. There are two tense in English, present and past. Unlike many languages, English doesn't have a future tense to talk about the future. English requires either the modal verb will or the present progress. Learn how to talk about the future intelligent future construction in English. For each grammatical tense, there are subcategories called aspect. Aspects refers to the durations of an event within a particular tense. In other words, the aspect of a tense allows us to describe or understand how an event unfolds over time. English has four aspects: simple, progressive, perfect, and perfect progressive. English grouped by verb tense. Well, tense for example is tense, aspect, and example. For present, simple present, the example is I wash the car. And for present progressives, the example is I'm washing the car. And for present perfect, the example is I have washed the car. And the last, present perfect progressives, the example is I have been washing the car. And for simple past, the example is I washed the car. And for past progressive, the example is I was washing the car. And for past perfect, the example is I had washed the car. And the last example for past perfect progressive is I had been washing the car.